People who have been cheated on. How did you find out? Story 1. His friend was kind enough to tell me. It ruined their relationship, but it was very meaningful to me. I appreciated someone doing me the kindness of letting me know. Reply. I had a similar experience. Her best friend found out she had been having an affair for a decade and told me. Being cheated on really destroys your sense of self-worth, but knowing that someone else flushed a 20-year friendship down the toilet to tell you softens that blow a little bit. It really meant a lot. Story 2. We were out on a date when she got a phone call. Her fiancé had just been in a terrible motorcycle accident and died. We had been dating for about 8 months at that point. We never talked again. She was obviously getting horrible news on the phone. She looked destroyed. I asked her what was wrong, and she told me had died. I couldn't place the name, and when I asked who that was, she told me. Reply. Had a very similar experience, although he wasn't her fiancé, just her long-term boyfriend, who got shot at a party and died at the hospital. I wasn't with her when she found out either. She called me crying because her friend got shot, and when I immediately told her I was on my way to take her to see him, to be with her friend group, I wasn't even going to stick around, just give her a ride cause she couldn't drive, and then she just cried harder and confessed that I was the dude on the side. I really loved her too. We also never talked again. Story 3. The prostitute, literally, banged on the door. When I opened it, she zeroed in on him and threatened to sick her pimp on him for not paying her. Story 4. You know how Facebook chat bubbles open up on top of whatever app you're on? He sent me a screenshot of something funny between him and his cousin. In the background was a text message about a date he was going on with this girl. Story 5. Short version. This is how I found out my ex was cheating. On Christmas Day. The longer version of the story is that I had gone home to my parents' house got Christmas. My ex did not join me, and 2 days before Christmas I told him I wanted to separate. He'd been super distant and a workaholic for almost 2 years at that point. Nothing I said or did mattered to him or woke him up to realize how deeply unhappy I was. The last conversation I tried to have with him over it involved him interrupting me with a giggle fit because he started thinking about how funny and cute a basket full of kittens would be. I told him I wanted a separation and he demanded I drove back to have Christmas and Christmas Eve with him because we needed to figure out if this could work. I drove 6.5 hours back and found out that he was still working those days, so I was, per usual, going to be alone on Christmas Eve and Christmas. So, our conversation lasted about 3 hours before he went to bed early so he could be at work early. Next day, I opened my Christmas presents over FaceTime with my parents watching, pretending everything was fine. However, his iPad kept dinging like crazy in the cabinet nearby. I waited until my parents had hung up before I opened it and saw the first message on the screen. It was from an ex-coworker of his, one with a serious boyfriend, and there was something off in the message. I opened up their chat and read the whole thing. Turns out, he'd been planning to fuck her for months while I was away. Her boyfriend didn't know. I certainly didn't know. Beyond her, there were 2 other coworkers he was talking to flirtatiously, one of which had children closer to his age than she was to him. I confronted him about it and he lied about certain details and dates. He also tried to erase his text messages on his phone, not realizing that erasing them on your phone doesn't erase them on the iPad. Our divorce was finalized that following summer. Story 6. My parents told me. They overheard him on the phone with another woman. Reply. At least you didn't have to announce it to your parents, I guess. Story 7. We broke up. I made a new friend and she asked if I had a boyfriend and I told her we had just ended the relationship, but I also told her his name, to which she replied, I had a boyfriend with that name too not too long ago. It wasn't a common name in our area, so I laughed and I showed her a picture and she did the same and we stopped laughing. It was the same guy. We both dated him for like 4 months and 2 of those at the same time. Story 8. Got off early from work one day. Literally walked in on her fucking some other dude. I thought that kinda shit only happened in the movies, but it happened to me. Reply. My colleague got laid off from work and was sent home early. He walked in to find his girlfriend going at it with his roommate. Talk about a bad day. ETA. His roommate was also his best friend. Reply 2. I have a friend that this happened to, he also had a toddler at the time. Walked in on his GF banging his roommate who was one of his best buds. Kicked them both out, and the GF came back while he was at work and went absolutely Looney Tunes. Knocked the blocks off of his antique car he was working on and busted it, cut his furniture open, broke a bunch of things, took a shit on the carpet and then rubbed it on the walls, floor, wrote with it on the house, etc. Who knows what else, it's been so long, but I remember those key points. What was fucked up about it was the first time I went over to his place and met her, I told my BF at the time, who I met my friend through, that her and his roommate gave me a really weird vibe. And I thought they were hooking up the way they were acting. Unfortunately, I turned out to be right. Edit. She was not the mother of the child. Sorry if I wrote that confusingly. Story 9. I had suspicions about my wife for a while, but confirmation came in the form of a voicemail from the guy's wife. Hi. This message is for blank. It's blank calling. Just wanted to let you know that your wife has been having an affair with my husband, blank. So, I just thought you should know. If you have any questions, I'm sure your wife would love to tell you all about it. Bye. It was jarring. Huge disconnect between her cheery voice and the content of the message. I think she was still in shock, after only finding out about it herself the night before. Story 10. A girl texted me and asked if I was single, because she saw my girl making out with someone else at a party. I ended up with the girl who texted me and I'm so over my ex. Reply. That's a solid dibs ing on her part. Story 11. The girl texted me. I had my doubts, but no evidence. Not that I needed evidence to leave, but that's another story. She texted me on IG with screenshots of him chatting with her, and a very prominent pic of his dick against a very distinctive floor tile. No way to say, that's not my dick. So, busted. Story 12. My wife cheated and had a 2-year-long affair. I found out when the other month's wife texted me and told me everything. I confronted my wife and she lied through her teeth until I hit her with some facts of the matter that she couldn't deny. We were high school sweethearts that were together for 18 years and married 11 with 2 young kids, 3 and 5. The absolute worst moment of my life, and I've been in a deep depression since finding out. Story 13. Funny thing, it was this day 4 years ago that I found out my wife was having an affair with her boss. I knew something was wrong. The way she acted around me was off. I had asked her point blank if she was having an affair with X. She denied it and suggested we go to marriage counseling. I took this as I was doing something wrong and went in hoping to find the issue that could save my marriage. She lied again in the counseling. This went on for about a month and a half. I had Thursdays off of work, so I got up and worked out, did a little bit of cleaning and sat down. That moment my brain went wild with the possibility of her having an affair. So I logged into her Facebook and found the messages between her and X. I called her crying, asking why. She gave me a cold, I don't know to tell you, and hung up. I left the house and went to the bank to get my half of the money. On the way I called an old boss and had a better job in a different city by the end of the day. I am a pretty simple person. I don't ask for much besides trust and truth in a relationship. That was broken now and I was out. I ended up remarrying a woodwoman with 2 kids and couldn't be happier.